sons of Kryos.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Judd.
And we are
the Sons of Kryos. And our show is about play.
And everything that happens at the gaming table.
Sometimes we will venture under the gaming table.
Sometimes we'll go to the fridge.
Or the bookshelf.
And sometimes we'll go to the computer.
But we're always going to try to keep our show centered around that game table. That's our home. That's what the show is about. That's what interests us.
This show is a member of Goblin, the gaming broadcast network. gbncom.com.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to our show.
Number 17.
Number 17, man.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yep, definitely.
We've got some great stuff for everybody to listen to today.
We have how to deal with gaming droughts.
We have how to start a game of Burning Wheel. We know you're waiting for that one.
Yeah, somebody actually asked about the Burning Wheel system, and I realized that we've talked about that we do play it, but we haven't actually talked about it. So I'm not going to do a Paul Tevisian review where I just sink into it, but I'll talk about how a Burning Wheel game could be set up, and if you just bought the book, how I would introduce it.
Cool, because I play it a lot, but I've never run a game of my own.
Yeah.
So that might just be enough to push me over the edge.
Good. What's next?
We're going to talk about how to deal with a bad gaming session, because we know you've all had them.
Yeah, definitely, I've had them.
And sometimes you need therapy afterwards. So
I'll talk about a particular session I had last month that was just flat.
Ooh. What's next?
Next is GM's Tools with Jeff.
GM's
and we're going to talk about character sheets, which I think is an interesting slant on it, that you're
Awesome.
putting that into character sheet.
They're totally tools, dude.
Oh, I know that. That's kind of fascinating.
And then we're going to talk about cussing at the table.
Keith Sankowski, we're looking at you. But more importantly, we're looking at our group. Our group had an issue with this, so I thought it would be a good thing to talk about. And Jeff thought it would be a good thing to talk about. So,
Awesome. Well, let's get going. We'll start off with how to deal with gaming droughts.
So I think what you have to do is, when you're in a gaming drought, you're not gaming. What you have to do is you have to watch out for game-replacing behaviors. What are game-replacing behaviors, you ask? I'm glad you asked me. They are excessive posting online. If you find yourself getting overly worked up, that could be because you just don't have a game and you're frustrated. So watch that. If you find that that's happening, if you find that you're posting just too much, it could be that you're trying to replace the hobby with talking about the hobby. I think that happens quite a bit. You look like you're about to say something, Jeff.
I'm just thinking about this, and I'm just trying to figure out how many rebound games I've been in. You know.
Wow. Is there something to say about that and rebound relationships? I think there's a.
I definitely think there's rebound games, man. You know, you're desperate. You get a group of friends together. Maybe it's not even friends. Maybe it's just people that you met that game, and you get into this game, and it's not quite what you hoped it would be. But
that's definitely something else to look out for. Is when you're in a gaming drought, being in a game just to be in the game. Because you just want it, because being in a bad game is better than being in no game, so they say, but it's not true. And I think that's becoming more conventional wisdom, that I'd rather be in no game than be in a game that's just bad, or be in a game that's even worse, abusive or dysfunctional.
Well, nowadays there's so much stuff online that you have so many options. You know, if you haven't been in a game for a while, and you can go on to a website, you could play, by post. You could go on some of the IM games that they have,
right?
And of course,
Skype. You could do Skype.
You could do Skype games. We don't really talk about video games on this podcast, but there are certainly video games that get into that area of role playing.
It might scratch your itch. Other things that go on with people are in a gaming drought that starving gamers tend to deal with. book collecting. I can't play these games, so I'll just buy a ton of books and read them and obsess over them and pick at them. And I mean, if you just want to do that because it makes you happy, great. But just watch out for it, again, collecting, replacing playing. I think that's maybe not so good. And the other thing is over-prepping for a campaign that will never come. You know, oh, I can't play, so I'm just going to build this world.
Sorry.
And when I do play, it's just going to be so great. Did you do that when you were in Louisiana?
I'm definitely not guilty of that one. No way. No, I haven't spent like weeks or months of time creating a game and have never used it.
You've never created a whole LARP area in Neverwinter Nights, perhaps? Maybe.
No, I never did that either.
Okay, just making sure. I just wanted to throw that out there.
So yes, I did. All right. I confess. I did. I played in a LARP for a long time, and when I moved away to Louisiana, I couldn't play in that LARP anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I used the Neverwinter Nights tool engine, and I created like that LARP in Neverwinter Nights.
Right.
And
I think it's a pretty healthy way to deal with homesickness, though. There are worse things to do. Some people would have painted a picture of Lake Cayuga. You painted a picture of where you used to LARP in Ithaca.
it was fun, and when I got back, I could like show my friends and like, look, here's your character, and here's the town and all this stuff, and they were impressed for about 30 seconds. So
cool. And more importantly, you had fun. You got to learn a little bit about NWN or whatever it is.
Neverwinter Nights. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you deal with? So all right, you're in the drought. How do you get out of it? Here's the element that I think keeps most gamers out of games that they will enjoy more than anything else. Only looking to other gamers for their outlet. If you have a game that you want to play, go to non-gamers. If you have a father-in-law who is really into Lord of the Rings, maybe there's a gamer in there waiting to come out. If there's an anime society that sits around and watches an anime club at your local college or university, go there with a game that is roughly a rough analog of an anime that you've seen. Introduce new people to the hobby. Play with your nieces and nephews. Just get new people into it, and look at it from a different angle.
Pat and Ken, two friends of mine who are involved with the Heroes track, actually they created it. They have been reaching out to a lot of people who are actors and trying to get them involved with the LARP scene around here. And it's been pretty successful so far. I mean, when they can get them to show up, it's been really cool.
Right.
And
I know Clinton R. Nixon, who was on our show, he has a podcast called The Durham 3.
Yeah, I just saw that, actually. This is a new podcast.
It's neat. And him and his buddies him and Remy and Jason have been going to an improv class. So that kind of crossover between acting and role-playing is kind of interesting. And it's not just Pat and Ken, kind of neat.
Role players make the best actors.
Maybe.
Oh.
I don't want to. All right,
Vin Diesel, dude.
All right, you win.
Okay.
I give. I tap out. I tap. The Vin Diesel tap, no doubt. So recruit non-gamers. Go to the game store, of course. The old bulletin board on the game store. Look on your online resources. There's a link that we'll have to something Clinton made called Find Play, which is a really nice way to find new gamers, and there'll be a link there. But yeah, just look around. Open your eyes. Open your mind. Think a little bit outside the box. And if the local game scene isn't into the way that you want to game, then you've got to find a way around them, and that's okay.
An interesting way to find other gamers, though, is to keep an eye on people in like if you go into Barnes and Noble, a lot of time you'll see like people just milling about the gaming section and whatnot. And if you're in there looking at their books, I certainly think you should go to your local gaming store and get books there. But if you are like in a Barnes and Noble or whatever, and you see some people hanging around there, go up and say hi. Hey, how's it going? I play D&D, or I play Burning Wheel, or I play whatever. Yeah. And you can meet people like that, and of course, always through friends of other friends, and so on and so forth.
Maybe run a little bit of like an hour demo at your local game store. might be
That
another
is a
way to do
great
it.
way to meet new players. I have, because of Get Your Geek On-a-thon, I have met some really cool new people that I probably never would have gamed with before.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how to deal with a gaming drought. I have personally I was in a gaming drought when I was in Japan for a year. I went a long while without a game. I got back and I moved to Tampa, and I went 3 months in Tampa without a game. I had emailed back and forth with a couple of gamers, and it just didn't fit into my schedule. So it just didn't happen. That was about the longest I've gone since I'm about 12 without a game. That was about a year and a half or so.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a. I didn't miss it so much when I was in Japan, but when I got back, I kind of was hungry for it again, and it just wasn't happening. How about you, Jeff? What kind of gaming droughts have you had?
It was when I moved for Louisiana for a little over 3 years, and it was mostly because when I got there, I didn't really know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I was on an army base, and there were certainly a lot of war gamers, but not a lot of role players. And when I finally found the local gaming store, I put signs up everywhere. I was like, I'm looking for a game. I'm looking for gamers. Somebody invited me to their D&D game, and the rest is history.
Nice.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, that's how to deal with a gaming drought. If you've got any ideas on how to deal with a gaming drought, post it in our forum so that others can see. Just in case if I miss something, if there's something that you know that I don't know,
let us know.
Let us know. It's GM's Tools with Jeff.
Hey everybody, and welcome back.
What tool are you going to bust it loose for us?
Character sheets, man.
Oh, it's interesting you should put that in GM's Tools. I'm fascinated. Go.
You don't think character sheets are tools?
Oh, I think they're definitely GM's tools. I think there are things that the GM needs to look at very carefully with character sheets, but I'm just fascinated. Go.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that your players put on there that is just helpful in running your games. We've talked about this before, but the information that the players put on there as far as their character stats, telling you what they want out of a game. But I personally really enjoy making my own character sheets for games. I think that adding, some of your own artwork, if you are an artist, or going to the web and searching for art, that it's cool to borrow. And some information that you want in your game. For example, I drift a lot, and we've talked about this before as well, but there's a lot of things that I add to my games that really help out if they're on those character sheets. So when I make character sheets for my game, I usually use Excel, Microsoft Excel. There are a number of other programs out there. You can do it on a computer. You can hand draw them and photocopy them. Right. It's really up to you. I really like Excel though, because then I can kind of keep more of a database of what the characters have. And sometimes I'll even keep track of the character sheets on the computer.
So these aren't sexy photoshopped art extravaganzas. These are more like numbers and facts, keeping track of stuff.
It really depends on the game.
Okay.
It really depends on the game. My D20 game isn't so much art.
Right.
It's more of 4 pages of numbers and
right.
yeah, it's a lot of stuff to keep track of. But and the reason why mine is 4 pages is because I kind of blew everything up a bit, and gave people room to I don't want to say doodle, but to put their numbers on there and have everything really explained well, so they can say, well, why is my armor class this? Well, right. And it says, oh well, because this and added to this and that and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So I think that is a really important thing, though, simplicity of a character sheet, or really good details describing what the stuff on the character sheet is. Mm-hmm. There are a number of games that I have played where the character sheets are just beautiful, but when you go to try and figure out what the stuff is that you're adding on there, it's like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this? I remember playing the Lord of the Rings RPG when it pretty much first came out, and they had a character creation problem because they didn't have like a character creation section. It was just you had to like read the book from like cover to end to really figure out how to make a character, and there was no like guideline or outline or anything, and it was just it was such a huge headache, and the character sheet did not help you at all.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, it was bad.
That's rough.
Thankfully, they corrected that online, but that was really a big thing that got me into this, because when I decided to do something with that game, I said, I can't have this. This is just crazy. So I made my own character sheets. I put all of the information that the players needed on the character sheets, and it was a breeze.
When I ran Mountain Witch at the last Get Your Giganathon, one of the players sat down at the table, and one of the first three things he said to me was, I own over $10,000 in D20 books.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I said, "Oh, okay, I'm Judd." it's just kind of shocking. So, one of the things he said when he saw the burning with the mountain witch, woo, the conspiracy of the burning sorcerer witch. one of the things
adventures.
One of the things he said when he saw the mountain witch character sheet completed is he said, "There's nothing on it," and I said, "Everything you need is on it." And he turned out to love the game. He participated in a really, really fruitful way. But it was just really interesting how kind of almost uncomfortable he was with how sparse it could seem.
No, don't get me wrong. There is a place in my heart for D20 stuff, but I do think that simple character sheets are so much better. They're like the cat.
Right.
The character sheet for cat is so simple. And I have run that game with people who've never played it before. And just having the character sheet in front of them, they get what things are.
Yeah.
And that is a really big indication of a good character sheet. Can your players look at just the character sheet and, start to get it just from seeing that?
Dogs in the Vineyard stands out as the all-star character sheet that I can think of.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Where on one side of the character sheet is the stuff the player writes down, and the other side are all the rules that you really could ever want to look up. Right there. All the fallout information, all the experience information, all the stuff that's going to happen to you from a conflict. Bam, it's there. Makes it very, very easy to run that game.
So another thing we can talk about is who gets to keep the character sheets.
What do you think, Jeff? I've got an opinion on this, a hard opinion. So
my hard opinion is that the game master, the DM, the GM keeps the character sheets.
Ooh, now do you mean week to week, or do you mean like forever?
Forever.
Wow.
No. No. I certainly think like when you reach the end of a game, sure, hand them over to the players and let them have them. But I've had so many games where, in the past, where players kept their character sheets. They'd show up to a game, oh, I forgot my character sheet.
Oh, no.
Then it's like, all right, well, do they remake the character? Do they go home and get the character sheet?
Okay.
It's such a huge speed bump. So huge that it's just not worth dealing with it for me. And if like somebody really had a bug about keeping the character sheet, in the past I have given them an extra character sheet and say, here, copy it over. I'll keep a copy, you keep a copy, and, every game session you have both of them, and just when things change, do it on both of them.
Okay.
That's my price for them having the character sheet.
Right. I've had really good luck with my players having their character sheets and keeping them. Even
in the past, like when you were younger?
When I was younger, I ran a game when I was about 15 where I lost all of the character sheets.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're probably still in my room somewhere. And ever since then, every group, it's like that group when I was 15, they have been emailing every group I've played with since, and no one trusts me with character sheets.
Oh my God.
Interesting little thing. They all seem to just know to take their character sheets home. And I like that. They're yours. You own them. Take them home and take responsibility for them. And I understand your point. It would take one time of somebody leaving theirs at home and it botching up a game for me to say, okay, I need a copy. And I've got a photocopier at home, so it's real easy for me to take the character sheet home. Usually in the first week, I say, guys, everyone who just make characters, give me your character sheets. I take down everything that I want off of them, or even I post them online, and then we go from there. And that way they're saved somewhere online.
Right,
so
right.
if, God forbid, someone forgets it, we can, if we're playing somewhere computer capable, we can just print them out. So that's
good point.
That's convenient. But understood that, that the whole leaving the character sheet at home is just
disastrous.
Totally
Absolutely disastrous.
So when you change a character sheet, Jeff, what are you looking to do?
Really, it's a matter of simplifying it and bringing that basic necessary information to the forefront.
Right.
Because I find that there are a number of games where important information is like, it's really small, it's a little box somewhere.
Right.
And it just, it really needs to be somewhere that the players can really see it.
Mm-hmm.
Other things are like stuff that I add to a game. Like, for example, with my D20 game, I gave characters, or I asked the players to give their characters goals.
Right.
And that's one of the ways that I award XP. So on our character sheets, there are slots, like pretty close to the top on the first page, where they put in their character goals, because I want them right there in their face.
Nice. And having that space to doodle, it can be fun too. I always love looking at the character sheets and seeing what people, some players draw. I mean, I think until you doodle or spill food on your character sheet, it's not really yours.
Huh. Now you see, I don't doodle on mine.
You don't?
No, I keep them clean. I don't doodle.
Do you spill food on them at least?
I try not to. That's bad.
That's folly.
I'll make up a new one if I spill food on it.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Wow, you like to have your character sheets virgin, huh?
Yeah, I like them clean and organized and well kept, and just get out the little plastic cover and stick.
I like it if it looks like a character sheet has been folded up in the pocket of the character who's been going through stuff, and it just looks like it's been on an adventure. But whatever, all shapes and sizes, Vincent.
That's cool. Now, here's something on a little bit of a side note here.
Mm-hmm.
Some nostalgia. Do you have any like old character sheets from games way back when that you just kept?
I've got folders that I can't throw away. I absolutely do.
It's okay, dude. I'm the same way.
I have the. Speaking of drift, Jeff and I were in a game where I drifted the heck out of Ars Magica to make it do Tolkien-inspired fantasy, and I still have a folder with a bunch of letters that you guys wrote to your mentors and stuff, and those character sheets and notes and all kinds of stuff. So I can't throw it away. How can you throw that away? It was just, we would get together once every Sunday and game for 12 hours straight. And then
I still have my character folder for that one.
Yeah.
There were a number of character sheets for that because some of them got dirty, so I had to make new ones. And yeah.
Wow.
I've still got, and actually, this isn't necessarily a character sheet, but I still have a letter that a character you played in a vampire LARP. This was the first time I played in a game with you.
Oh wow!
A letter that your character wrote to my character, and it was pretty nasty. Actually.
Yeah, I bet.
I was playing a Giovanni, and so I still have that somewhere. And every once in a while, I pick it out, and I'm like, that's pretty funny, and I'll stick it back in.
I'd like to see that. Excellent. Are we done with characters?
Yeah, we're done.
Cool.
That's GM's tools.
Put a cork in it. Dealing with a bad session.
Oh, that's happened too many times.
It happened to me last month. I had a bunch of friends come in from out of town, and two of us, two local GMs said, hey, we'll run games for you because we're just happy to see you. And Rob and Sarah came to town, and we all got together to see them. And I ran a game of Primetime Adventures, which, yeah, dude. Which I've been telling everyone is liquid fun and has never been not fun for me and always rocks. And we ran a game, and it was just stagnant.
Oh, my goodness.
It was like 3 hours.
How can it be? No!
3 hours of pulling teeth. And I'll tell you why. Here's why. We, in Primetime Adventures, you kind of get together with the group and you brainstorm over what the TV show is going to be about.
Right.
And everyone was lukewarm. They were lukewarm on it, and I pushed it ahead instead of shelving it. I should have said, no, wait. Let's shelve this idea and come up with a new idea, totally divorced from this idea. And instead, I pushed, and the game was just dead weight. Now, here's the first thing that we did that I think is healthy. We said, that was a bad game. That was a whole lot of suck. And I think that's a really good thing. Number one, because I'm a DM or GM or whatever who has enough games under his belt that my feelings aren't hurt.
Right.
My batting average is still pretty good. So I'm that's okay. And I learned something from it. So that's even more than okay. And it wasn't anyone's ill will that did it. So I wasn't mad. I was just disappointed. I think that's the first thing you've got to do is someone's got to step up and be like, I didn't enjoy it, and here's why. And Robert was the one to do that. Robert said, I didn't enjoy it. That was everything I didn't like about Twin Peaks. It did X, Y, and Z. I just didn't think it was fun. I didn't like playing it. Not a good time. And that was good. I think it's the first thing you've got to do when a game goes south, especially when it's just for organic bad setup reasons. 99% of the time, when a game goes badly, it's because something you did during setup was wrong. You built the house on a shaky foundation. And you've just got to acknowledge that. It could be interpersonal reasons. It could be, I've had a game go south because an ex-girlfriend and I were just having a meltdown, and we just shouldn't have been at the table together. And that's something you need to acknowledge. Oof. Yeah, dude. My friends call that the day the world ended. Because, like, the Ars Magica campaign that we were playing, not the one that I mentioned with Jeff earlier, another one that was more traditional Ars Magica that I had been running for a year and a half prior, ended. And just ended right there in an argument. I collected the character sheets and I went home. And I promptly called the people who I liked, who were my friends, and she called the people who she liked, who were her friends, and we didn't talk for a couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah, we're friends now. We game, but...
So apparently that, like, something like that is the point where you just say, all right, we're done. This game is too bad. We should all leave.
This game is done. We shouldn't be gaming together. And that was cool. And you know what? The person who I had the fallout with at that game, she and I are friends now. And we game now. And it's totally healthy and it's cool. We just needed a couple years off. We were friends. We started dating. We're getting personal now. We broke up and we kept gaming together. And that was a mistake. We needed some time off. So...
sometimes your bad session has something to do with your, out of game relationships.
Oh, heck yeah.
And more often than not, well, no, maybe I'm wrong about that.
What's that?
It definitely happens a lot. If you have out of game problems, it will pop up.
Right.
It will.
Right.
Better believe it. Expect it. It's going to show up at some point.
Yep. Yeah, no, you've got to, if there's tension at the table, it's going to come out, and it could come out in a really unhealthy way. But if you talk about it, it's, it could come out in a really healthy way. It could help you deal with it. Not the case in that case.
So the best thing to do then when your game sucks is just have the courage to stand up to the other players, the game master at the table, and say, hey guys, this just isn't it.
Right.
Can we maybe switch tracks?
Right.
It really depends when you notice this, but if you catch it early enough, your session doesn't have to be ruined.
Your session doesn't have to be ruined, and more importantly, your relationship with your friends doesn't have to be ruined. I think it was Tony Lauer-Bausch who wrote Capes, who said that he has a group of friends, I think I've even quoted this before, who he said to that, he said something really brilliant. He said, guys, I really like you, you're good friends, let's do something other than gaming.
Yeah.
Because I just don't enjoy playing RPGs with you. We like different things about this process, and that's really cool. And if they're good friends, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, heck yeah, let's do something else."
Yeah, I certainly have friends that I wouldn't bring to the gaming table. That's not their thing.
Right, and that's okay. I've got people I play soccer with. I've got people I do martial arts with. I've got people I game with. People I work with. It's all different relationships. You can segment that up, and there's nothing wrong with that. So if you see a game going south, just say something. Say that it's not working for you. A game should not be 10 minutes of fun. A game should be fun the whole time.
Just make sure though that you're not the only one that's not having a good. Because if you're the only one not having a good time, well, that I think that's a different situation though. That's not. When you're not having a good time, it's. I think it's a different situation than when the majority of the people playing aren't having a good time.
Right, but you're never going to find out if you don't say something.
Oh,
if you
certainly
wait
you
for
should.
those clues. So I think you need to say something, find out if everyone else is on the same page.
Right.
And because what happened was Robert said that wasn't fun, that sucked.
Right.
And 2 other people said, yeah, that was flat.
Well,
and then 2 other people said, oh, I didn't think it was that bad.
Right.
I thought it was kind of cool.
Well, see, I've been in a game where I was like the only one not really having that good of a time.
Right.
And if I had stood up and said, guys, this game sucks, can we change to something else? This is just not working.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that. I would say, look, this just isn't quite for me.
Right.
Maybe I'll come back and play a different game with you guys, or maybe, we're just not meant to game together. So.
Right. I mean, you've got to be, Robert could say what he said because he knows me real well, and he could see the look on my face that I wasn't happy with the way things went. When all the stakes are flat, when no fan mail is moving, PTA isn't working.
Right.
So we'll get more to that when I talk about how to run PTA in the next couple months. But yeah, when it's real obvious when PTA ain't working. It's not like there are definite signs.
Right.
And the signs were all there. So yeah, you need to find a way to tactfully say something. Robert could say that to me because I've got some experience, so he can say that sucked and I can take it. But you could be dealing with a first-time GM or a GM with a tremendous ego problem, in which case saying that the game sucked he or she is going to take that as a personal insult. And so you've got to be careful and tactful. But you've got to get it on the table, because if that's the wrong group for you, you're wasting your time and you're wasting their time.
And here's a note for you GMs out there. If one of your players does stand up and say this to you, take it with a grain of salt. It could be a lot of things that are throwing that session off.
Right.
So, talk to them and figure it out. Just, don't just react badly. First off, they're not attacking you. They want to have a cool game like everybody else.
It's not personal. It doesn't mean you're a bad GM. Great GMs have bad nights.
Absolutely.
It just happens. Babe Ruth struck out every once in a while. He didn't just aim for the fences. He didn't just point to the fence and hit it every time.
Yep.
So you just have to be cognizant of that. It ain't personal. It's just business.
If you have anything you want to say to us about this, stop by our forum and let us know.
Let us know about a session that was the suck for you and what you did about it.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back.
Our next segment is how to start a burning wheel game, which I know something about. I've started a couple, and I think here's what I've got to say about it. Burning Wheel is a fantasy role-playing game. It is, I say that the non-human stocks that you can take, orc, elves, dwarves, are very Tolkien-inspired, and the humans feel more George R.R. Martin-inspired to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just to give you a vibe, just to give you a little bit of a taste. Now,
if they've listened to our show, man, they've heard quite a bit about Burning Wheel. So you should.
They've heard that we play it, but they haven't necessarily heard specifics. We've stayed a little bit away from specifics, I think. So how do you set one up? Well, you've got this book. You've got amazing orcs. You've got these dwarves. You've got these amazing elves. You've got gritty humans. You've got a bunch of different schools of sorcery. Where do you start? Here's where I say you start. First, just get your buddies together and run a couple conflicts. Run a duel of wits. Run the fight mechanics. Maybe arrange and cover. You don't have to do all of them, but I would say definitely duel of wits and fight. You should get through one of those, or you should get through both of those, one of each. Just understand how they work. Get the dice out. Get some sample characters from online, or take some from the back of the book, and have them bludgeon each other for a night. Have some fun, a little half session. Once you think you've got like a basic grip on that, how the dice work, how scripting works, that kind of stuff, I would narrow it down. I would narrow down what you want to do. Do you want to run a game of all dwarves? Do you want to run a game of a couple elves and maybe a couple humans? It's going to be unbalanced. Elves are more powerful. It's just the way it is. The elven part of the group is going to be, they're going to kick butt. I have run one of the first games I ran of Burning Wheel were 2 humans and 2 elves, looking for the lost brother of this one elven princess, and they had found people with his arms around this kingdom, and they were rounding it up, and it was pretty brutal and it was pretty cool. But the elves heinously dominant. We're just heinously dominant in their stats, and that's okay. It didn't affect the game in an adverse way. That kind of power imbalance can be not a terrible thing, but it's something you want to just keep in mind. That kind of balance that maybe you're more used to with other games might not be as present in Burning Wheel in that respect. So I would narrow it down. What do you want? Do you want to run you want to run a human noble house? Do you want to run a human mercenary company? I would get it down to a premise. Have a pitch to go to your players with. This is going to be an elven bid for the throne. This is going to be a dwarven deep mining expedition. This is going to be an orc raiding party. Bam, and I think with something simple like that, you let the players build off of it.
I think that in this section right here, Judd, where you're talking about working on the concept of your game, I think this would be a good point where players could start talking about possible beliefs and instincts.
Could be.
Because that ties in really good into the game if you have them worked in with it.
I would switch it up a little bit. I would go with narrow it down to a premise,
mm-hmm.
and then I would think of character ideas, and then I would get to beliefs and instincts.
Gotcha.
Which is my third step. Is definitely beliefs and instincts. So you're definitely reading my mind. Beliefs and instincts and traits are what drives the game. Jeff knows what he's talking about. He's played plenty of Burning Wheel with me and at cons and all kinds of stuff. And beliefs and instincts are going to be what drives the game. So a lot of times what people will say is, oh, you've got these beliefs and instincts, but what if they're going in totally different directions and the group just totally splits up? Then if you don't want the group to split up, if you're uncomfortable with that, then make the beliefs and instincts together in a way so that they don't. Make the beliefs and instincts in a way so that everybody has a reason to stay together that they like. So your third step after you narrow it down and you've got, dwarven siege engineers, now you make the characters. My character is the first guy up the ladder. My character is the guy who whips the oxen and gets the siege towers to work. My guy is the ballista guy. My guy is the explosives expert who blows things up under the wall. Bam. Those 4 guys, you got a campaign. A couple of them are brothers. A couple of them have vendettas against each other. One has an oath that he's going to be the one to bring down a castle. You're cooking with gas. So that's what beliefs is going to do. It's going to take the vague premise and character archetypes and make them yours, so you own them. And that's what Burning Wheel does, and it does it in a delicious way. So let's break it down. You've got this new game, Burning Wheel. There's a whole lot to it. It's chunky and it's crunchy, and there are a lot of rules in the book. Some people look at it and they get really intimidated. So break it down. You've got duel of wits, you've got fight mechanics, and you've got range of cover. And other than that, you've just got straight verses. Real easy. Just learn 2 of them. Learn the 2 that are important to you. Then narrow it down. Narrow down what you want to play. I wouldn't go for the big Tolkien, all the races get together and save the world just yet. Run a little mini campaign. Run a one-shot. Burning up characters is fun, and you can find there are also good one-shots online. Luke has a couple of really excellent pre-made scenarios with pre-made characters online. They're just a lot of fun. Then after that, when you've got the characters made, you want to get your beliefs and instincts down, and you want to really get them down together so that everybody in the group knows what's going on. So if my character and Jeff's character don't like each other, me and Jeff decide on that. It's not just something that comes out of nowhere. I decide, Jeff, you know what? I'd like to play a character who really hates your character because he's such a snooty fancy pants. And that way it's decided between us. And that's it. Those are the steps. You do that. You do it with your buddies. I think you'll have a good time playing Burning Wheel.
Another thing I want to add here, Judd, is that if you at any time are having problems with any of this stuff, go to the Burning Wheel forums. Everyone there is more than happy to help you out with this stuff. They will just trample you to death trying to help you.
Luke has got a really solid crew over there. I mean, if you don't hear from Luke himself, you'll hear from Tor or Dro or Mayurin or me or Jeff or Aaron, and we're all there, and we're all looking to help you. So absolutely, there'll be a link to the Burning Wheel forums. It's a great game. I've had a lot of fun with it.
It's an awesome game.
And I highly recommend it. So one of our listeners, whose name I don't know at the moment, suggested that we talk about Burning Wheel a little bit more in depth, and that's how I thought I would do it. I wanted to talk about how I go about setting up a Burning Wheel game.
I think this is a good segment. Maybe we could add this in every couple of shows and start talking about other games.
I think you're definitely going to see me do this a couple more times. I want to do How To Dogs in the Vineyard, How To Sorcerer, How To Conspiracy of Shadows, How To The Shadows of Yesterday.
Primetime Adventures.
Yeah, I can do How To Primetime Adventures.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. I think How to Start a Game, How to Start Game X, it's coming. It's a new segment, and you'll see it every couple of weeks.
Sweet.
There are too many games I love that I want to share. So, I mean, Jeff and I aren't going to review games, but we will talk about the games we like and how we start them up. And Jeff will start it too. I think Jeff needs to start a how to drift the heck out of D20. Maybe. Think about that.
I can definitely do something on drifting.
Cool.
Our next segment is about swearing at the table.
Cussing at the mother frackin' table.
Beep. Sorry.
Frack, dude. It's a Battlestar Galactica curse. It's not
really?
a real curse.
I haven't really been watching Battlestar Galactica.
You are a heathen.
I want to, dude. As soon as somebody lets me borrow it.
I will loan you it. I'll loan you it.
Okay.
You can get on Netflix like the rest of humanity, you know.
So
So cussing came up at our table. We had a good night of gaming. Our weekly group is just stellar, and we always have a lot of fun. But a player went home and emailed everybody and said, guys, I really have fun gaming with you, but I'd really like it if we could cut down the cussing, which is interesting and funny because I didn't even realize we were cussing.
And I think a big part of that was the game that we were playing. There were a number of crime boss type of characters,
right.
And people, a little more seedy than usual. And I think we've all watched The Sopranos too much, and it just came out.
Yeah, it did. The Sopranos, it really revolutionized the way we use and think about the F word. And we got all Jersey up in here.
We really did.
And it made him uncomfortable. And that's good. He said something, and that's awesome. So I think if cussing is making you uncomfortable, you need to just say something. And if they're your friends, I think they'll adjust. And if they feel strongly that they need to express themselves in that manner, then you need to have a talk. I know people who wouldn't adjust, quite frankly, who think that cussing is the way of expressing themselves, and they absolutely wouldn't adjust. So then you have to ask yourself that question again that we come up with a lot when we're doing advice type stuff on the show. Is that the group for you? And maybe not. Maybe it's not.
The funny thing for me is I really don't swear much in everyday life.
Right.
But when I game and I play characters that swear, I swear. I mean, I don't think I do it like some people. I think I'm still pretty laid back, but that is definitely like when the swearing comes out in me when I'm playing a character that should swear. Right. I don't know why. It's like, oh well, this guy should say bleep here. Right. Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of dialogue, and it's a matter of taste. And I know that this is where I come to relax. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to promise anybody that I'll never swear. But I can certainly say to Aaron, hey, I'll cut it down.
I think I can help out here.
Okay.
I think I'm going to put a jar in the middle of the table this time, a swear jar.
Yeah.
Put $1 in every time you swear.
Nice.
Yeah. We'll buy food with it for the next game.
Did you ever hear the Tom Waits story about that?
No.
Tom Waits is like the coolest guy on the planet. So he's talking about he has kids and they have a swear jar in their kitchen. And he's like, he's Tom Waits. He's like, yeah, we got this swear jar in our kitchen. You take the money and you buy a tree and you take this ugly words and build something beautiful, So I wake up in the morning and drop a 20 and, cover my morning. I just thought that was so brilliant. Dropping a 20 in the cuss jar is just great. I don't know if $1 is a little steep.
I don't know.
$1 is a little effing steep.
Dude. We'll be making mad cash. Come on.
I don't know. I think we need a group vote about that. But I definitely will cut it down. I'll cut it back so it's not excessive.
Yeah. And I think now that somebody said something about it, I think we'll all pay a little more attention to it. Yeah. Whereas I don't think anybody was aware that there was any sort of discomfort before.
No, I think you're right. I think we were getting a little Sopranos.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Cool.
That's cussing. Jeff, there are some post sessions,
Stuff.
post stuff you wanted to talk about. So
Yeah.
what else do we have to talk
Well,
about?
I wanted to ask people to hop on iTunes and go and post a review about our podcast on iTunes.
Let us know. Let people know what you think of us.
Yeah, last time I checked, we had one review on there, and it was really cool. And I don't know if you guys listen to our show on iTunes or if you listen to it in wherever or whatever. But if you do listen to us from iTunes, go on there and leave us a review. We would really love to see what you have to say about us there. And so that other new people will have the ability to check it out and see if they're interested in us.
And know what they're getting into.
Yeah, absolutely. We also wanted to let you know that we are going to have sonsofkryos.com soon.
Yes. Kryos will have a home.
Yes. We have it right now, but we will be working on it and getting it up and running and making the switch over to there.
The lair is under construction.
We have to have some cool dragon type stuff on that.
Yeah, I've got a picture of Kryos. I think we can do a Photoshop of that. It'd be pretty hip.
Absolutely. And then the last thing I wanted to cover was some podcasts that Judd and I listen to, and just kind of give you what we listen to when we're not listening to ourselves. I listen to ourselves. I have to. I've listened to us like a dozen times to just make sure, I cut out all the swear words and all this and that, and there's not really that much swearing. But
I don't have a good reason other than pure vanity. I just like to hear myself talk. I think it's great. I laugh at all my own jokes. I might go write a review on iTunes. No, I'm not going to do that.
That'd be
that is
wrong.
That's a little tacky. But
So
I am a listener technically.
So one of the podcasts I listen to is Have Games Will Travel.
Yep, with Paul Tevis.
With
there
Paul
will be a link.
Tevis. Yep.
And he has some excellent. He had a great interview with Kenneth Haidt from the Gamma Trade Show. He had some great interviews from ForgeCon Midwest that are all really well worth listening to.
Paul's got an awesome show, and he does like a podcast where he goes tabletop games and then like RPGs the next time and switches, off and on. And I don't really listen to the tabletop game stuff too much or the board game stuff too much, but I really like the RPG stuff. Really love it. Another one that I listen to is Gamer the Podcasting, which just recently came. Well, I don't want to say recently came out, but
we just recently discovered them.
Yeah, recently discovered them. And they have a really cool podcast, which is mostly about LARPing.
Right.
And I'm a big LARP fan, and they have some really cool segments in that show.
A lot of costuming advice. I think they do a lot of White Wolf LARPing. Hence, Gamer.
They do some, yeah.
They're also a very good-looking podcasting group. I thought we would be the best-looking gamer podcast out there. And I'm not just saying that because they've got a good-looking gal. I'm saying the whole package, their whole trio is a good-looking group.
Yeah.
I'm a little intimidated. At the Gamer Podcast Fashion Show, I'm not going to be the diva I thought I was going to be.
No. Well, we'll have to go out and get gussied up.
No doubt.
Then
put my hair up.
So, Judd, how about you? Are there any other podcasts that you listen to that I didn't mention?
I like the Durham 3 with Clinton Nixon and Remy and Jason Morningstar, and it's just three guys talking about their game. It's just really fun, and what they do, my favorite thing about them is they do this thing where in the middle of the show they're like, "All right, we'll come back after our game is done," and there's a little bit of segue music, and then they come back after their game session and talk right about the game that night that they played. That's really cool. And they just talk about if it went well. They talk about if it didn't go well. It's really hip. Very cool stuff. So, the Durham 3. It's three guys. They run games they run three shots. So they run 3-session games. And they're awesome.
I have yet to listen to them, but I just found out about them.
Yeah, give them a go.
I will definitely put them on my iPod.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed the show, and we really appreciate you listening. And if you would like to leave us an email, you can email us at
sonsofkryos@yahoo.com, and I'll spell it because I have an English degree. SONSOFKRYOS Kryos@yahoo.com.
And that's all one word, folks.
Yes, and what you don't know is how many times I've misspelled it, and we've had to go back and
edit it out.
Oh, boy.
Well, everybody, thank you for listening.